scenes. We are Squawking Dead, and it's good to be back again. We had a little dry run on Instagram, and for some reason the other streams didn't work, but Instagram worked for another reason. I don't know why. It's usually the reverse. But I wanted to say hello. Welcome to our new live stream format. It looks kind of cool. The ladies can't see it yet, but they will eventually. Welcome to TWD Season 10. We're going to do a little house cleaning. I'm going to explain why I'm not on the video for now, but in the meantime, we've got a couple things coming up. If you missed it, I did do a live stream of our New York Comic Con panel last Thursday night with Oscar Rodriguez and Elise Dufour, and hosted by me, Meg the Geek, and it's all thanks to BMNY Deadcast Chris. So thank him. I thank him. Meg thanks him. We're all thanking him. And it went really well. The live stream is kind of wonky. We had to use a webcam. The audio's okay. You're gonna have to, slide the volume up and down every now and again. But we got the live footage. We're basically in the process of processing all that, and eventually I am going to release an audio version of that once we get the better audio. We have some shotgun mics set up. We have a couple cams. New York Comic Con actually filmed it as well, so if I can get that copy, that's probably going to be way better. In the meantime...
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. They had a really good production behind them, so... but who knows when they'll come out, because I looked at their previous videos on YouTube, and it's just like, it looks as though it comes out a couple months after or something like that, maybe to kind of extend the hype. Oh. I don't know. Yeah. Either way, coming up, and I'm saying this at the top of the show, prior to Walker Stalker Con, why don't you all head down to Camp Merrimack Fall Bash? The description of that is in the no audio on Instagram. Oh, you motherfuckers!
What? It was just so working.
Oh, I know why.
Did you click mute?
I messed up. I'll tell you why. It's playing. Okay, now it's playing the intro. Now you can hear us over the intro. It's going to be a little loud. Let's wait for that to finish. It's a cool intro, right? You've seen it twice already. Okay, how'd you like that? Okay, there you go. Okay, anyway, let's start from Camp Merrimack Fall Bash. Okay. Why don't you come? It's the Thursday night before Walker Stalker, where I think, Carol, let's get an answer from you now. Put you in the hot seat. Are you going to be there?
I will do my best. It depends on how soon I can get there from Miami based on flights, but I really do want to come. So, okay. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay. Nice. And what it is, it's a charity bash. It's basically an intimate setting at Jacob's Table in Sonoy, Georgia. And we've got a couple of high-profile cast members like Kari Payton, Cooper Andrews, and a bunch of other really sweet, awesome second stringers like, the actress that plays Birdie, Karen Cisse, and Marisol Correa from Oceanside, and Sabrina Giannarino, who played Tamiel at the Heaps, and just so much more. It's really intimate. It's a great gathering. It's down in Sonoy, Georgia. The night before, starting at 5 p.m. I think, and there's some photo ops that you can purchase with Kari and the Kingdom and etc., like solo, group photo ops. It's going to be great. It's for really good causes, some really good charities that I outlined, I think, in the last episode. No, the episode before last, covering the season finale of Fear the Walking Dead. It's right at the beginning, so if you... we kind of go into the charities, we kind of go into what it's about, when it happens. There are 2 ticket options, the descriptions, the links to which are in the last few broadcasts and episode descriptions, and even blogs. If you don't want to go to the YouTube or Facebook, just head to the website, which is newly revamped. SquawkingDead.com has updated its banners, its colors, all that stuff to reflect The Walking Dead Season 10. Banner is provided by none other than Freakish Order, my girl Steph. We're going to be updating all our social media, and I mean, it's going to be great. I have like specific like avatar icons now for like Facebook and Twitter and banners and like different configurations of the banner that we're using. It's so cool. Like if you go there now, if you go to squawkingdead.com right now, you'll see what it's going to kind of look like on the social medias, the avatars and all that stuff. But in the meantime, head to squawkingdead.com if you want to get the goods on the links to the Camp Merrimack Fall Bash, even previous episodes and links to the New York Comic Con. Well, I don't know about the New York Comic Con video. I gotta get the audio for that, but at least you can get the link to Camp Merrimack Fall Bash. It is literally campmerrimack.com/fall, and that should be it. And yes, you heard it. We're gonna be at Walker Stalker. We have press passes. We have a table. I just got the info for our table, which is 225, I believe. I'm doing this off the top of my dome.
Oh.
So yeah, all that stuff's finalized. We're ready to rock. And oh yes, Nisa, I'm getting to that. So it's kind of part and parcel to why I am not on the broadcast. Nisa pointed out something very, very important, and that is, why is Dave's camera not on? Well, I'll tell you, it's a kind of a story. So after the New York Comic Con post Bliss, I realized that, you know, we could maybe get this to be one of those things where we're really, really close. I mean, we're like less than 100 followers away on Instagram from 1,000. And part of the giveaway, which I will say right now, is the We Are Squawking Dead Road to Thousands giveaway. You can also get that at squawkingdead.com, and it just should load up right there. Part of that giveaway is that if we reach 1,000 followers or subscribers or something like that, basically we would open more winner slots. Now, what we hadn't done until now, and you know, this is kind of my failing a little bit, but you know, I don't really push Squawking Dead as much as I probably should. I don't tell you guys to share videos and stuff like that, or share podcasts or anything like that. We don't make enough clips to kind of share around. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's one of those things I just don't really do. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I engage. I try to reach out to other people through comments and stuff like that. And I don't really push people too hard. If you like it, come on along. Either way, I decided to say, fuck all that. And I said, it's kind of a shame because I really want to give more to the fans who have sunk in their time in the giveaway. And for all those who did enter, I kind of wanted to see if I could open up another winner slot. So there'd be 2 winners out of, you know, all the hundreds and hundreds of entrants. So I decided to really, really push hard on trying to boost those numbers on at least Instagram, because we were the closest to that 1,000 mark, right? So, so there'd be 2 winners. Yeah. So basically, I said, let's push this thing and see what happens. And then I got really, really nervous because I sent a little call to arms to have people like ask other people to follow along, you know, and share.
But it's very grassroots.
Yeah. And so there you go. I mean, like, and that's the thing. Like, as it got closer to TWD time, 9 p.m. Eastern, I started getting really, really nervous. I mean, and I basically spent, instead of like redoing the website, the social media, you know, doing a couple things, like I wanted to actually cut up the audio from what we had on the live stream to do episode 70, which is basically the New York Comic Con panel. I spent all day thanking people. And this is not me being ungrateful. You can't see my face, but I'm like genuinely there, engaging with everybody, thanking them for sharing things out. I mean, we have like 40 shares on Facebook, and I don't know who shared, you know, shares through their shares, but it was a lot. People shared it to groups. People shared it on Facebook. They reposted. They put it in their stories. I mean, it was really, really great. And so the bottom line was I kind of burnt myself out. I made it through the whole episode. I watched it. I retained it. But like not even halfway through Talking Dead, I was done. I woke up. So if you want the Cliff's Notes to that, basically I wrote a whole post on how I woke up to find out that we actually made it past 1,000. And, you know, in the middle of the night, I'm like, okay, I got to change the giveaway from ended to like, okay, 2 weeks later. So the giveaway has been extended to just after Walker Stalker Con, which is like 9 p.m. Basically TWD time in 2 weeks, which is October 20th, 9 p.m. We added another winner slot. So do yourselves a favor. If you have already put in some entries to the giveaway, use the viral share option. It generates a link that's specific to you. So when you share the giveaway, like let's say through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, like you could put your generated link in your your Instagram bio, and then have people click that link, and it'll just go to the giveaway. And if they start entering, you get entries. You know, if they keep, you know what I mean? So it's a really great kind of idea to spread the word, which is really great for us. It helps us reach those other thousands, but it's a really great way of, you know, scoring more entries, like way more entries. So go ahead and do that as soon as you can. And there are a lot of daily options, like daily bonus entries. So, you know, come back every 24 hours, and then you can score another entry point. And the best entry of all, and this is kind of like Carol's idea, and then I kind of took it to its nth degree, which is rating the podcast on Stitcher or Apple. You basically just write something up, make sure to copy it before you post it to Apple or Stitcher, and then make sure to paste it into the box to confirm validation. And I check up on it in a couple days and make sure it's posted. And if it is, you get 5 entry points. So you can do that every single day, and you will get 5 entry points for every single day. It's kind of better than that daily bonus option. So I don't know why you guys wasting your time on that. I mean, it is a little bit of work. It's a little bit of typing. But if you got the time and you want to win that shout out from a cast member, 30 different cast members that we have currently listed, I will be looking to see if we have more. And as a thank you to everybody, I will also be cutting up a new video featuring the recently added Thora Birch and Xander Berkeley. So,
oh, you're dude. You're
yes,
man.
Exactly. So I will cut those up. Now, there's another reason why we had to broadcast tonight. We're not doing that new format that we proposed. Partially, it's because of the Jewish holidays. I was not ready for tonight, but ready or not, here Carol and Rachael come because I needed more time for notes. And lo and behold, tomorrow night would have been Yom Kippur. Wednesday, I would not have been ready to do a live broadcast just after Yom Kippur. And then Thursday comes around. It's like, well, let's just get the show on the road. I've got 2 incredibly talented, well-versed, excellent hosts that can do better than I can, and obviously I'm cleaning house, and then I'm going to shut the fuck up and let them get the show on the road. And so I said, let's get the episode out the door, at least on the live streams. And then what I can do is just cut it up, and I'll see if I can post the audio podcast tomorrow. If not, we'll have it out the door on Thursday. Basically, I'll start Wednesday night, and then we'll see what happens. And, and then we'll see. So without further ado, and sorry for taking so long, there's a lot of house cleaning because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of cool things happening, I gotta say. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And speaking of cool things, we have tons and tons of things to give out on our at our table at Walker Stalker, including the StabCon stickers. And for now, I have a bunch of buttons, magnets, and stickers, like regular stickers of our podcast. So that's gonna be really, really great. And I've got a couple of other surprises in store, especially for the trick-or-treaters on Saturday. Which is going to be pretty cool if I can pull this off. And I also have something that I'm working on something that people have been requesting, and it's a lot of people have been ordering the StabCon merchandise, like a lot of the t-shirts. I had 2 baseball tee orders last night. And so there's real interest, and if you guys are really, really interested in the StabCon merchandise, which is, it's basically a rip on the Scream movies, basically the movie within a movie that is Stab. And so we created t-shirts based on that so that you can wear that on the 90s after party, which at least I will be attending. I don't know if you ladies bought the tickets to that yet. I think they're still available. But if you do...
When is that?
I think that's is that Friday night or Saturday night? I can't remember. But
that must be what Kelsey was talking about. Okay. No, I haven't bought tickets yet, but
do that.
I would like to.
Yeah, so it's basically a 90s after party. So think 90s, get dressed.
I'll bring my tracksuit.
Wear your Delias.
Oh my God, Delias.
I had sisters, I know. And and if you want and if you can, I would recommend you order your StabCon merchandise today. And if you do and you're really interested in it and you have the money, expedited shipping for sure. And that way you'll be guaranteed to get it on time. Mm-hmm. However, I wanted to add, I will be working with TeePublic to see if I can do a wholesale order and order it straight to my hotel. I'll be ordering basically larges, extra larges, and XXLs. So, yes, Tom, Cavarici jeans. Yes, exactly. Man, that man grew up in New York. Or at least in New Jersey. Z Cavarici. Yeah. Okay, so on the ones and twos. Where you could fit basically 2 legs in 1 pant leg. Anyway, so that's about it. So without further ado, TWD Season 10 season premiere. Take it away, ladies. I will be in the background answering your chats, and I will basically try to relate to the ladies as well I can. So
you're still going to be the voice of God throughout all of this.
I will be the voice of God. All right. So let's get started.
Yeah. So, we were talking before we started rolling about just the way this episode started. Which was
you gotta tell it.
Satellite.
Right?
So literally I was sitting I'm all excited. I'm ready to watch this. I'm sitting in my living room. The house is asleep. So I'm like, okay, perfect. So it's all of a sudden it's I see this satellite orbiting the Earth. I was like, what the fuck is this about? I was like, oh my God, and then it's okay, we cut to the ocean scene, and you see a walker coming out of the ocean. And my immediate thought was oh my God, are these astronaut walkers? Space walkers? I literally paused and I wanted to take a look at what was around him because I was like, is that the space suit? Is that what in the and obviously it became clear as episode went on. But I really was wait, were these astronauts that were in the set? I was like, that's kind of cool. Okay. I was totally in it. Totally.
Right. Russian spacewalkers too.
Yeah, exactly. A Soviet satellite too. I was oh, wow. Okay. I was that's
my gosh.
Sorry, okay.
Now, did you see the picture? I can't remember if it was pictures or a short little clip of the table read that was going around a few weeks ago, and in the background were the scene images, and you could see a satellite and then a fire back there too. So I kind of was expecting it to show up at some point. I didn't think it would be boom first thing. Yeah. But I'm okay, satellites. How's this gonna tie in? Yeah. But they did it.
I was surprised how off the bat, just a lot of the scenes from the trailer we got in this first episode.
Oh yeah, almost all of them.
Almost all of them were in this first episode. And that was the thing, that first scene that they call Training Day. I thought from the trailer that was going to be an epic showdown between our guys and the Whispers. And it's oh no, it was just training. Okay.
Literally training. Yeah, I totally thought it was going to be sort of a play on words too, Training Day, throw them to the wolves and figure it out. But no, it was legitimately training.
It was legitimately training, which was kind of cool to see. All right, they have real tactics and how they're approaching this or whatever. And so that was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to see, that whole sort of setup and stuff. And then you kind of see that, what is it, a whisper mask washes up, and that's what takes us into the credits and stuff. The credits were cool. I thought some of the updates to the credits were pretty cool. I like how they added in Rick's last scene on the bridge.
Yep.
So that was kind of cool
because he's Pikes always, at the end.
Yeah, he's always present. I kind of like that Rick, the whole Rick Grimes persona is still there, because I have theories on how that's going to tie into Michonne leaving.
Oh, sure.
But
there have been too many theories on Michonne leaving. I mean, I could think of 100 right now.
But before we do, I have a
yes, announcer.
Yeah, I promised I would do this, and I didn't do it, and I must issue a public apology before I get canceled. I had promised Tom that I would announce his Fear the Walking Dead panel on Sunday.
Yeah,
right. Which is super exciting. That's like monumental.
When I do the audio edit, I'll try to sneak this into the beginning so that it looks seamless. But in the meantime, he's doing a Fear the Walking Dead panel on Sunday. If you do have the time, let me know. I will put it in the description, Tom. And I will plug the heck out of it. Tom has been a major booster of Fear the Walking Dead to the point where he has a sick, and I say sick because I never say sick, awesome set of tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
Of all the cast members. Yeah. And so, yes, catch that at Walker Stalker. Thomas O'Mara, Walker Stalker. Just look for it in the programming information when you get there. And without further ado, I apologize for interrupting you. It's at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Yay!
Is there a list of all the panels someplace?
There should be at some point. Okay. I don't know if they have all the programming done, but it will be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're still adding like things here and there. Like it's still not like super fleshed out.
Okay.
So yes, without further ado, the episode commences, and pretend like I totally did not interrupt you. Okay, and so nothing happened just now, and we're talking about the credits.
La da 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 da. Yeah. I really enjoyed the training day. I think it showed. It definitely, in its own way, showed time passing because they are now this unified front, and they work so seamlessly together. They're like a machine. I mean, they have these commands that they just holler out, and people, do what they're told. They're a little army. So, I mean, you can tell that time was put into that.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. Like now we're like at the point where, we're kind of pretty much out of like the whole guns and ammo thing. So it's all like melee weapons. So it's like elaborate shields with spikes, and I guess we'll see all of like Aaron's like attachments and stuff.
Right.
Cool. That's pretty cool. That's gonna be cool to see. So it's cool to see like how they've got it all like synchronized, and I don't know, the whole episode was interesting how they divided it up into segments to kind of, because we kind of were able to see through that what was going on with everybody. Yeah. Like it was like we got pretty much like a glimpse of like, all right, this is what's going on here. Like at Oceanside, well, they were at Oceanside training. And so it was like the Oceanside group. And then you had like Daryl was there, Michonne was there. What was it? Like King Ezekiel was there. Jerry was there.
Yeah.
Oh God, what was his name of the new group with Umiko and Magna?
Luke.
Yes.
Luke was there putting the moves on Jules.
Okay. I was gonna say, like very brazenly.
And his weight
he was
loss?
so cute though. He's like, are you flirting? Okay, good.
Like, yes,
good.
Yes, I am.
Good. Because I was too.
By the way, and you noticed Dan Fogler's weight loss? It's
weight loss, yeah.
Yes,
so
I did notice that.
Yeah.
I did notice that. Was he wearing a blazer?
Yes, he was.
Yes.
With the sleeves rolled up like the Goldbergs, like in the 80s.
Yes.
I was like, really wearing a blazer at the ocean during a fight sequence in the post-apocalypse world? All right.
He's got to look good while he's taking walkers down.
Yeah. I get it. But yeah, there was quite a lot of like kind of love interest in the air because there was that. And then we also got to see some of the whole like Daryl, Connie sort of vibe going on there too. As subtle as it was, like you saw like in his back pocket that he had a pamphlet of like American Sign Language.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind.
That's Daryl's version of flirting.
Exactly. I like the fact that she said that he signs with a Southern accent.
Right? I know, that was so cute. It is cute though. I mean, he really like, you can tell he has feelings for her, but he really doesn't know what to do. Like he has no idea what to do.
Yeah. I thought it was sad though about like her sister. Like it seems like, so like her hearing is starting to like degenerate more. That was like, yeah,
that's kind of what it looked like to me. And she made a comment and said, I don't know when it's going to happen. So it sounds like whatever is going on, she knows at some point her hearing will be completely gone. And of course, she's only worried about her sister. And Connie's like, psh, I got this.
Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So, she does, though. I mean,
no, she's like one of the most martial like characters on the show. So
absolutely,
she'll be good. But it's like we got to see like all of them. I love the scenes with Judith and RJ.
Oh, that was so cute. Did you see Judith's little sword flick in the beginning?
Yeah.
Just like Michonne does. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I freaked out, right? I'm like, oh, just like her mom.
It's so cute. Like, I love it.
Cute. With a little baby sword. Yeah.
Oh, actually, it's a Wajasaki.
Yes, it is. There's a word.
It's a smaller sword than the katana.
Right. It is. It's a thing. It's not just a mini version. It's its own thing.
Thanks, announcer.
Right.
I am the voice of God.
Yeah, that scene between Judith and RJ was so adorable too, and she's telling the story of Rick.
Yeah.
Now the only thing I didn't understand, and maybe you have an opinion on this, why not tell RJ it was his dad? Why are they calling him the brave man and not saying your dad was a hero?
Yeah, I don't know why they necessarily just said the brave man, like almost like a sort of story rather than like, he is the legend, but kind of making him like this sort of like larger than life, like legend sort of, instead of like, well, your father, unless they just feel like he's just too young to kind of like understand that this was your dad and this is what happened to him. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because then he does bring him up to Michonne later, like he says, and when she's talking about people you would do anything for, and he's like my dad, and she's like, where does he think he is?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if like they still haven't completely given up like potentially hope because they've never found like a body.
Sure.
As much as like Daryl was like looking and he just like never found anything.
Yeah, and to call Rick the brave man in the story, that way it has an end. It has an ending. They don't just say the brave man disappeared. We don't know where he is. They can. It has an ending and that could be it too. Just a hopeful story for everybody.
Yeah, it could be. But we see like them end up like radioing over to Alexandria. So here's a question. Like, I mean, we saw almost everybody, but like, I wonder what's going on at Hilltop now with the vacuum of like, Jesus is gone, Tara's gone.
Yeah.
I wonder what's like going on
we
there.
We didn't see Hilltop today. No.
Mm-mm.
That's a good point. I am like, there's a whole other community we didn't even see.
I was like, I'm thinking about it right now. Like it just popped into like, well, wait, like what's going on at Hilltop?
Yeah, we really don't know who's running things over there either.
No, because who was it at Hilltop? It was
Tara. Tara
was there, but the guy who was the former savior, what's his name? That was
DJ?
Like for that spear. That had
Alden.
Alden.
Yeah.
He was from Hilltop, right? Was he at Hilltop?
He was a prisoner there. I don't know if that's where he calls home. I don't know if he stayed there after he was a prisoner. I'm not sure where he resides.
Yeah. He's residing.
Where he hangs his boots. I don't know.
Yeah, because he was at like the fight scene, the training day, but other than that, it's like, I don't know anybody really at Hilltop at this point.
None of the like main characters, like even Earl was down there fight. Well, no, he showed up later after the fire.
Yeah, he was there at the fire.
Huh. Something to pay attention to next time. I'm very, very excited to say that Ryan Hurst was in the main opening credits this season too.
I did see that.
Yes. Upgraded.
You know what's so funny? Like it's interesting when you look at the credits because like even like Christian Serratos, Rosita, she's like up there. She was like second or something. Like she was like all the way up there. I was like, wow, like that's so crazy. But she's been around for like a while now. So I was like, still there.
I do that too. I pay attention to the order of the names and like where they're at in the title sequence and like I know I overthink way too much.
No, I do because sometimes I think like when they put like and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I'm like really just and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like he's not
right
up there more. I don't know.
Although a lot of times in shows the and da-da-da or with da-da-da is more often the biggest name in the title too. I've noticed that in shows.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I always think like whenever they're just like, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I'm like, okay, not just like, just not like an add-on, okay? Like he's kind of like
he's a big deal.
Exactly. It's like he's kind of a big deal.
Do you not know JDM?
Yeah. So I'm always like, really? Like, but maybe that's what it is. It's like there's like a certain kind of weight of it's like, and introducing. So I was like, that's true. I get it. But they're like up there. Like Samantha Morton was in the credits. Ryan Hurst was in the credits. I was like, wow, up there.
It's a big deal when villains make the credits.
That means they're going to be a while for a little bit.
Yep.
For a little bit.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah. And maybe and they might switch it around too, just to keep like them around a little bit longer instead of just like, because I feel like that's what happens in the comics a little bit. Like they get eliminated so quick. Because Alpha doesn't last all that long in the comics.
No, she was gone pretty quick.
So like they might like switch things around a little bit just to like kind of get more out of it, because otherwise it's sort of like.
I think Alpha is a character that can hang on for a long time. Like she, between her acting and the writing and everything that they can add in, I mean, she could, her character could hang on for a really long time. They could do a lot more with her.
Yeah, I think
definitely.
They could. How long was the governor around for? I feel like he was around for like.
He was there for at least a season and a half.
Yeah.
At least, maybe even longer.
Maybe even longer than that.
But at least a season and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, they could get more out of her, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And she's an amazing actor.
I wonder how she's going to handle like being at like the convention.
Yeah.
It's like a whole other like realm.
Has she done other cons? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if she has.
I don't know.
I don't think she's done that circuit yet.
I don't think she's been in anything else that like really has this
kind of like following,
Right. Not a Comic-Con following anyway.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. I hope I get to meet her or at least wave from afar. I'll be that weirdo creeper.
Come find me.
Come find me. Bye.
Did you ever watch SpongeBob?
I still watch SpongeBob. I have a 10-year-old.
There was an episode of SpongeBob where he was obsessed with some cool guy named Pat. Was it Patrick? I don't remember what. It wasn't Patrick the Starfish. It was like another character. He was obsessed with him, and he would just show up all the time. And at one point, he was like hyperventilating. He was like,
"I'm SpongeBob when I meet Ryan Hurst."
I'm going to send it to you.
Oh my gosh! Yep, there's me.
Oh God.
Oh,
but yeah, it was, the opening scene was cool. It was definitely cool. But then it's like, so they're definitely using the radio. And so they radio back to like Alexandria about finding the mask and whatever. And so we get to see what's going on in Alexandria with like Father Gabriel. So Eugene is basically the pediatrician, I guess.
Yeah. or at least Coco's. I mean, I don't know if he would care that much about another baby, but at least her.
Yeah, like they went through this whole like sequence where it's like he's charting her every like development. He's like measuring her leg.
Cute.
It was very cute because he's deadpan when he's doing it. Like there's no expression on his face, but he's like measuring the leg, like the arm.
Just like, very doctory.
Yeah, very doctory. Like charting sleep cycles and like.
Diaper changes.
Diaper changing.
Oh my god!
He's not even like in it like that. And he's like the father. He's like, oh, okay. And I was like, when he was explaining all this to him, I'm like, wait a second, Sadiq's a medic, isn't he? Like, he's a doctor. Like,
right.
I don't think you need to school him on all this, right?
Right. Well, but he's also a parent too now. So, I mean, that kind of jumps ahead. I'm pretty sure oh yeah, I called him Nanny Eugene in my notes.
I like how Luke referred to Eugene as Eugenius.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that nickname. Yeah.
I was like, that is great, Eugenius. I do like that.
Eugenius. Yeah. That was good. I did like that.
That was a good one. I was like, that's how he should be known forevermore, like Eugenius. But I love how he was like schooling Sadiq and all this stuff or whatever. Rosita's just like kickboxing the hell out of like boxing, like the boxing bag, whatever. Like I was like, okay. And Sadiq's like, I don't know. It seems like they've got this kind of weird dynamic going on. It's like Father Gabriel's like there, but like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like Rosita's relationship with any of them is really all that, I don't know. Like
romantic?
No, yeah. It seems like, no. Like she's just kind of like training like the hell in like the other room. Yeah. And then like Father Gabriel is doing his thing. Sadiq is just kind of getting into this parenting thing. And Eugene's kind of like the nanny.
The nanny. He is. He really is the nanny. Yeah.
He basically is.
I don't know about you, but I'm still not a fan of Rosita and Gabriel together. It's just too odd. Too odd for me.
Sense. When they did that whole pairing, I was like, I don't understand.
I don't see it. I just don't see it. You quiet up. You quiet up there, God.
I hear grumbling. From the sky.
Let's talk more about how much we don't like this relationship.
Man, do you have something to say, God? Like,
speak and be heard. Restraint.
It just doesn't make sense for me. I don't know. I just don't.
It feels forced.
I can't wrap my head around it.
No. I will tell you who I was very excited to see, Dante. That was
my gosh. He's right out of the comics too.
Perfect, dude.
He was so perfect.
When he walked in, I was like, dude, you couldn't have casted a better Dante.
He even looks like him.
Looks like him. He has the same swagger, same approach. I was like, this nailed it. You guys nailed it. Like this one, you got it.
I'm not even sure who the actor is. Do you know who the actor is?
Juan,
I have
Javier
no idea.
Cardenas.
Okay, thank you, God.
God has spoken.
No, yeah, he was absolutely perfect. He looks just like him. That cocky, pompous attitude, like, oh, he's just perfect. I cannot wait to see more from him.
That was like one of the, like a big highlight for me when he walked in and introduced himself. I was like, oh, he's here. This is
right.
Awesome. I was like, you have big scenes coming up. Especially knowing that Maggie is coming back.
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm seeing this all come together. All right.
Yep. Ooh, oh my gosh.
That was awesome.
So was he a doctor in the comics? I don't remember him being a doctor.
No,
he was just a dude.
That was the only thing that was different. Like, I mean, because they never really got into like his, I guess, pre-apocalyptic life. Like, basically, we just know like that he was like a fighter, you know, but that's about it, you know. So yeah, but I was like,
that's cool. Yeah.
I was like, this is cool. Like, give him more substance. That's cool. Like, but you got it. They got it perfectly. But the crazy thing was, it's like Sadiq has some serious like post-traumatic stress, man.
Oh, like, big time. Yep.
Big time.
I'm almost wondering that whole thing with the spider. And then when he flashed back to the barn and then we see the spider in the web, I almost wonder if that's him like freezing. Like he had a moment where he just froze and didn't fight back.
Yeah.
And that and like did. I don't know. And that could and that would definitely give you PTSD and guilt and having the flashbacks. I mean, what if he froze? What if he didn't do anything?
Yeah. He probably still remembers kind of like, or maybe he like had a moment of like self-preservation and he just kind of saved himself or hid or whatever. And he has guilt knowing that like he didn't do anything. Like everybody else was kind of like fighting together to kind of try and defeat them. And he just froze and like, I don't know, maybe it was like cowardly or hit or something or whatever, you know, and he's still kind of like dealing with like, you know, like the after effects of that. Because obviously like it's still like really like weighing on his head.
Yeah. So I want to go back to, I guess it would have been the last episode of 9 when Alpha walks into the barn and everybody's there. I'm like 95% sure she has her normal Alpha outfit on, like the black and the black jeans and everything. And then in Siddiq's flashback, we see her with the machete and she's wearing her green Debbie dress.
Is she wearing the green Debbie dress? Really?
She is. And so now I want to go back and see if I saw what I thought I saw, or if she's wearing the dress when she comes into the barn.
When she walked into the barn, she was wearing her regular like Alpha clothes. Like I remember that.
Yeah, but in Siddiq's flashback, she's wearing the green Debbie dress. Could be on purpose thing, you know, mistake. Like he's remembering it wrong.
Yeah,
which can happen, by the way.
Oh, yeah, and traumatic of absolutely. But if that's the case, I mean, what amazing attention to detail to like throw something like that in that, you know, maybe not everybody would catch. But I'm psycho, so.
You know, Tom just said Siddiq gonna get Gabriel's comic death. Why don't you talk about that?
Oh, well, somebody's getting that epic death. Somebody's getting that. I 100% agree that somebody's going to get it. It might be Siddiq.
It could be.
You know why? Because I could see Siddiq trying to redeem himself from like maybe not acting in the barn and like kind of like fighting in the Whisper, the eventual conflict with the Whispers. Like I could see Siddiq maybe wanting to take a more active role because he didn't when he was in the barn. And that leads to maybe potentially like him having that epic death, you know?
Sure.
So I could see that.
I could definitely see that.
Somebody's getting that death.
Oh, I also made a note when Michonne and Aaron were on the bridge in that close call. Did you see the walker bite his arm?
Yeah, I was like, dude, you like when Michonne went to the bridge and was like, well, that was stupid. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Because if you didn't have that like metal attachment, you'd be gone.
Yeah.
That would have been it.
Pretty much. I also kind of had a funny thought, but when she says, well, she's saying, you know, don't start anything because they have a nuclear weapon, right? Talking about the massive walker herd. Yeah. And I'm thinking, but they don't know that we have a nuclear weapon too, called Negan.
Very true. But they don't understand, like, I don't think that they're fully understanding the potential of their weapon yet. They're like not utilizing their weapon yet. Like
Hiroshima.
What?
Negan is like Hiroshima. And Nagasaki.
Oh man. I don't know though. It kind of seems like he's not wanting to get involved. I mean, that whole scene with him and Gabe in the jail too. I took that a couple different ways though. When he said, you know, I don't want to move from us to them. Did he mean to being viewed as a villain again, or to be used like as a soldier? I kind of took that both ways, and it could have. I don't know. How did you take that scene?
Could have been like as a villain.
Like he's worked so hard to prove that he's safe to be around. You know, he doesn't want to be considered a villain anymore. Yeah. And now that these bad guys are coming around again, people are going to remember what Negan did. That was kind of my first thought.
I could see potentially that. Like he's definitely earned certain privileges after like saving Judith and all of that during like the storm. So like they've definitely loosened the grips, and he's like out, obviously still like with an armed security guard, basically like watching him, you know, while he's like gardening and all that. But like, you know, I think that he doesn't want to kind of like regress back to that, you know? Yeah. But he's like, people get nervous. And I mean, and I guess it's also kind of like, he knows like when people get scared, people kind of make certain judgment calls and decisions out of fear. and just, the whole self-preservation thing too. Like when Lydia was out there and, he was kind of told her, watch your back, because basically he knows it's like, okay, if they're on alert because of your people, they're going to come after, they're going to be mindful of you, even though maybe you're technically one of us. It's like, they're going to be watching you like a hawk,
Absolutely. Yep.
So,
there's still, no matter what, they're still, they're still outsiders.
Right.
And when things start to turn, they'll be the first two that people start glaring at.
Yeah. They're going to be the first two that people are going to start suspecting, like Negan and her, because of like where they're coming from,
Sure.
So,
all their history. Yeah.
Yeah. And he knows more than anybody, which is why he kind of like gave her that tip.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but it'll be interesting to see how Siddiq's kind of trajectory goes, like knowing that he has all this trauma. Maybe we find out more about what happened, that evening. Because I feel like we had a lot of questions about how did this happen? How did they lure all of them into that barn? Like all of that sort of thing. So
I hope his flashbacks are true of what happened. That way we do get a look at what happened in the barn, because right now we've got nothing except the story he told at the end of the season. I would like to see little snippets of this.
And there were a lot of like theories that floated around at the time of like, well, can we trust what Siddiq's saying? Like all this sort of stuff. I mean, maybe not from a malicious intent, but maybe just from a traumatic extent. I mean, who knows?
I think those are still very valid questions. I mean, we really don't know what happened. There was a theory that Siddiq is like, a mole back, for Alpha. I mean, at this point, I really think anything's possible. I mean, I don't know. I really think anything's possible.
Yeah, and I can easily see as this season is about like paranoia and propaganda, that they're gonna just look at every either outsider or anybody who's suspicious as one of those people. So
and Siddiq would fall into that category, having been the only survivor,
which is sad too.
Exactly. It's sad.
Maybe
it's like automatically like, but people look at automatically and they wonder like, wait, how are you like the lone survivor? Like Bruce Willis in Unbreakable. It's like, how are you like the lone person?
And it's not really. It doesn't seem to be Alpha's style to leave somebody alive to leave a message. The heads were the message.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So that kind of makes you wonder too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of like the things one of the people that I was so happy to see was Carol came back.
Right.
I was like,
she came back just like Michonne did in the books.
I firmly believe. I know. I was hoping that she'd be like holding on to like the pole, sort of like the wind in her hair, because she still has her long hair. Like, but still, it was cool. But
it was cool.
I think that boat is going to totally figure into Michonne's exit. I know that Chris like had that theory too, and I'm 150% behind it. I think Michonne goes off on that boat and sails off to find Rick.
That's my number one theory. She's going to get on a boat and go.
And we'll get that Michonne shot.
And actually, I think we've already seen it in the trailer.
Did we? I definitely saw.
We saw somebody. We saw two people. We saw two people leaving on a boat, and to me, it looked like Michonne's hair. That was all I could see, but it, we see two people leaving though, so somebody's leaving.
My money's on her. It just makes sense.
And that awkward conversation between her and Ezekiel.
I know.
That was so hard to watch.
I was
the look on his face.
I know. That was some good acting, I have to say, because that's like convincing of someone who did not want to break up, and the other person who's just over it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, well, it's good to see you. Bye.
Okay. Hey, you're back. Oh.
And he's like waiting for like a, how have you been? What have you been up to? And she's just like, I'm gonna
go over here now.
Oh, my heart broke for him.
know. I feel awful, especially when it's like she's jumping into like Daryl's arms. I'm like,
oh, right.
Oh.
At least she hugged Connie first.
Yeah,
that was like the only saving grace.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, she's happy to see everyone, and honestly, like to me, Daryl and Carol, it's just a very deep friendship. I don't see like anything beyond that. I just think that they get each other very, very well.
Yeah.
But even that whole scene in the trailer with the I miss that, God.
Kindred spirits.
There we go.
Yes, exactly that. But even that whole scene with them, with like the friendship bracelets and all that, we got that in this episode too.
Yep.
Crazy. But it was cute. It was cute that they had their like conversation. So I guess like we find out that she's been away for like 3 months or something. That's what she said. Something like that. And she tries to kind of convince like Daryl to go with her and kind of like, well, he says that he's not about the pirate life, which right. So funny. But then she was like, "Oh yeah, well maybe maybe not that. We just go on your bike and just like go west and stuff, you know." Yeah. So yeah, it seems like she just wants to kind of like ride away from like any and all memories of like what happened before. But I mean,
we've seen this from Carol before too.
Oh yeah.
Like this isn't new behavior for her. What's new is that she wants someone to come with her.
Yeah.
This is the first time she's asked anyone to run away with her. She usually does it on her own, which I thought was a pretty big deal. I think it shows growth for the character. She's not feeling so lonesome anymore.
Yeah. I think that she knows that she needs her relationships, and there's a very small circle of people who she trusts, and obviously she trusts Daryl more than anyone else.
Oh, so for sure.
For her, it's like if she were to go and she would want somebody to go with her that has her back, like it would automatically be him. Mm-hmm. And you know, he actually like considers it and all of that, you know. But you know, of course, what interrupts all of these like little side stories and threads is the freaking
Spacewalkers.
Wait, I have to let me actually cut in though, because both Instagram and Facebook. So this is Thomas and I think Niso or Alani has said this. They had said that maybe Sadiq had begged them to spare, like led them to all these people to spare Rosita her life.
Oh.
Like, how did they get away with it?
Wait, one more time?
How did they get away with taking all those people from the fair? And Sadiq...
They had somebody help, that he kind of assisted
to spare Rosita from the Pikes.
Because Rosita definitely was supposed to be, like, if you were to go by the story...
Right. Mm-hmm.
She should have been... And that was, like, a big expectation I had going into it, was that, like, well... This is going to happen. It's not going to be good, but this is what's going to happen.
Oh, if you would have asked me, I would have put money on Rosita being on a pike. Like, I was that sure.
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, potentially, maybe in order to spare like her.
Really the baby's life, though, right?
Really baby's life, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That is definitely
a lot of brain explosion emojis on both sides. Yeah. I thought that was great too. I really like that. I mean, I don't. Can I weigh in on something?
Of course.
I mean, I am God after all, but I really, really don't like the whole being suspicious of Sadiq thing, because it really throws the whole character's raison d'etre like off. Because if you look at how he was born of Carl Grimes,
right?
Yeah,
and the promise that he made to Rick, and carrying on Rick's legacy, just trying to honor Carl's memory. And I just don't see that character doing something like that without some sort of like weird twisted rationale. But I just can't see it.
Wouldn't that be such a real world twist, though? I
mean, yes, I would agree that is kind of a weird world twist. But like, I don't know. It's still a television show, so. Yeah, there is still like an archetype of a character that plays into it. You don't see anything that leads up to the character doing something like that, possibly.
Right. No.
And especially when you consider
no.
his speech afterwards, you know what I mean? Like it seems to me that it just wouldn't be the case. On that note, I got to refresh Instagram. Haha. I don't even care if it cut me off. Hold it. Yeah.
Hold that thought.
We gotta get used to not spilling the beans.
I can't see you.
I can't seize you.
I seen it.
Let me just click enter here, and we
This close by.
are live. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
We're back, guys. Sorry about that. Okay.
I do not want.
Wait, let me just lead up to that. So I just spent a few minutes to saying how I don't really think Siddiq has that in him. I don't think he entered the world like that. And I just don't see that. I don't see a lead up to him using that behavior. But Tom disagrees with me, by the way. But Rachael, you're on. Sorry.
I don't want to. I don't think I personally suspect Siddiq. Like I said, at this point, anything is possible. And I wouldn't be surprised to find out that this happened. As of right now, I don't believe that he did. I mean, a lot of because of what you just said. I mean, there is an honor that we have to pay to Carl, and it would be, and because it's a show and not real life. If it were real life, yes, then he would probably stab everyone in the back. But this is a show, and he has to pay, and he's trying to honor Carl. And so I think they will hopefully stay true to that. But I mean, again, like I would not be surprised at all to find out that something shady happened. Not at all. And maybe not even so much malicious, but maybe Alpha put him in an impossible situation. Maybe he made the best of the worst choices too.
I could see that. Just out of like pure self-preservation, or just out of like survival, or to protect like Rosita, or to protect the baby or something. Maybe he had to like make a decision that that still haunts him to this day, It's possible.
I think there's
malicious intentions.
Yeah. I think there's still some weight to the argument that he hid when everybody was fighting and getting killed. He might have just froze and hid.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that.
Is he really much of a fighter? Have we seen him fight too much?
No, not really. I mean, like when we When we met him through Carl, he had set up those traps. Like he had set all those traps because like his parents like believed in sort of like kind of releasing like the souls of these people. So we're kind of trap walkers, and then he would like kill them. But I mean, that's the extent of it. So it's not like he was like this sort of like fighter in the sense of like
hand-to-hand combat people, or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that may not be his territory. Like, I mean, Eugene, like the same thing. Like Eugene, we've seen Eugene make decisions in the past, like purely to protect himself, and everybody like hated him for it or whatever. But it wasn't out of like malicious intent. It was just that he was scared.
That was his strength. He used his strengths to survive. And I think it's amazing that he did that, honestly. I don't know how I would feel if he had fooled me, but watching the show, I think he is a Eugenius for it.
Yeah. He's still here. Eugene's still here.
Yep, because he was smart. Yeah. It's good thing he is.
Eugene reminds me of, I remember watching, I think, Project Runway when it first came on, like season 1. Side note. I promise not to go off on too many tangents.
I'm just surprised to hear Eugene and Runway Model in the same. Keep going, please.
Literally, I remember, you start off with 14 people, whatever. And at one point it was like down to like 4 or 5. And at one point, one of the top guys, like he's talking to this other guy who was not admittedly as strong as a contestant at all. And he like tells him, he's like, yeah, I was talking to so-and-so and I was thinking to myself, how are you still here? And that's like Eugene, like you look at you like, wow, how are you still here? The apocalypse has been around for a while and Eugene is still here, you know?
He surrounds himself with very strong people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He does.
He's smart for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean,
where last we left off with spacewalkers.
Yes.
Right.
Spacewalkers. 100%.
It's getting you back on track.
Yeah.
Right. So, well,
by the way,
gonna say
Eddie's listening to us on a plane, by the way. Sorry.
Oh,
He just wanted to say that. I thought that was... I could insert that while I could.
That's very kind.
So I think that almost brings us up to the point where I hard rolled my eyes.
Okay.
When the satellite finally crashes. Okay.
Yeah. It was pretty intact, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, but did anybody else have a problem that it was just laying nicely on the flat ground? That thing came from space.
It came from space, and it was
didn't
very intact.
create a crater. Come on, we can dig a little hole.
I mean,
that's it. That's my only beef.
I can help you with that, but okay, go for it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we know a meteor took out the dinosaurs, so like this thing landed, created this fireball that burned like this forest. But the satellite itself was pretty intact. Yeah.
I mean,
they were like, "Hey, let's take some of the equipment from the satellite."
Right. I mean, I realize it broke off into little pieces and everything, but that the big hunk in the middle that would have been a few feet in the ground.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, that was definitely a stretch. I was like, I knew that you were going to mention something about that. I was like, did it have to do with the fire?
Yep.
Like, yeah, that was a little like,
It took me 2 watches to realize what Aaron was doing too with that group of people.
His group was doing what? They were like doing
They were I believe, God can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they were creating a trench for the runoff fuel, and then they were burning it so that the fire wouldn't spread to where the fuel had gotten to.
Oh, okay. I knew, I was like, they must be doing something to control it. I was like, this has to be something about like controlling the blaze so it doesn't spread.
Exactly. Yep.
Backburn.
That's what he called it. Yeah. And something about a spine. I don't speak fire. I didn't know what that meant. Before it reaches the spine or something like that. I'm like, hey, words. I don't understand.
If that was the word. It could be, but yeah, I don't know. But I can tell you
that was the word they used in the captions. I don't know what it meant.
Well, it could be where the nettles are and the dry air clearings of the forest.
The shrubs.
Yeah, basically. So, but I wanted to go back to the shuttle thing because what happens when space shuttles fall from orbit, they don't go straight down.
Right.
So they're doing like asynchronous orbit with the Earth. So they kind of go in a lateral motion. So when they do fall to the Earth, they do arc a bit as they reach the Earth because of gravity, increasing exponentially or something like that. But it still goes in a kind of arc. And so what happens is, and what I want to look at, because I still want to get notes just so I have it in my brain. And I'm going to be paying attention to this now that you guys pointed it out. I do want to see how the background looks when they show, because I saw some really good still shots of the shuttle.
You should see a wide clearing behind it.
Yeah, was
from
there?
Where it went. Not.
Even if there wasn't.
I wasn't paying attention to behind it. I was more looking at where it was sitting at.
Yeah.
And it was just gently placed right on the Earth.
Right. Well, there was a ditch, so there's a couple things that I did see. So that I think what would happen is you'd have a little. It depends on how it falls, but like I can see easily at that speed, and depending how thick the forest is, it would have to go through plenty of trees to slow its trajectory. Mm-hmm. And as it goes through a lot of the trees, that's why you won't see maybe a major clearing. Depending on the speed, it will basically cut the tree in half rather than take them all down. So, but as it gets closer to where the landing site is, that's when you'll see whole trees fall down because of the rate of the speed is going to be going slower. So it's going to have more of a blunt force, rather than a high velocity impact. So, yeah. So, I mean, there's obviously suspension of disbelief and all that stuff, but I will go back and I will try to see. And of course, we're going to totally forget about it by next week because I hear the next couple episodes are even better. So, so we'll totally forget. But I do want to see that scene again now that you pointed it out. So,
I mean, it's such a minor thing to complain about too. Yeah. I mean, that was literally the only beef I had. I mean, if that's it, this episode was gold.
Yeah, definitely. There was some pretty epic fight sequences too, in terms of like all the shots, like the slow motion shots of like during the fire of them like taking out like, because obviously like the fire attracts walkers. So you start to get all these walkers that start like coming to the fire. And so they have to, you know, obviously there are some that are still controlling the fire and trying to put up the fire. But then like, you know, Daryl starts fighting, Michonne starts fighting. I mean, Carol also, they have some really kind of epic kills during this. Like, they had some really good shots of like Michonne with her sword. I feel like she cut off like the face of like one of them. She like sliced them, like just literally like, just scalped them. It was pretty cool.
I like how they did the slow motion blood splatter too.
Yes,
that was very artistic. I loved it.
They were very artistic kills.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. But did you get I when I saw all the walkers coming towards the fire, and I knew they were on Alpha's side, I did get a little bit worried that they were attracting her herd, like all of those walkers.
Yeah, because that was their concern, right? When they were trying to like when the fire first started and they had to kind of like flee from that area, like Magna was like, well, we're going into her territory, so it's like this could be like viewed as like an act of aggression or whatever, you know, like, so it would have been totally possible, you know. Yeah. I was trying to think of like when Carol, there was one walker that Carol like grabbed and like throat.
Yes.
Was that a whisper? Was that a person? Because I was like, wait a second, like, why are we focusing so much on this? Like, or unless it's just like the gratuitous violence aspect of it. I don't know.
Okay. I guess I did have two little beefs with this episode, and that happens to be one of them as well. So now that you bring that up, I was pretty sure it was a walker, not a whisper. But if it was a whisper, my beef holds no water because, we're gonna get into walker science here, right?
Right.
The brain reanimates.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Like,
not the heart.
Kill them. Like that would not have been a kill. Like just slitting the throat.
It wouldn't have killed him, and I don't think it would have sprayed like that either if the heart wasn't pumping.
Yeah, I feel like they focused on that for a reason. Like,
well, I liked how it put the flames out. I thought they were going to do more of that.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And when she did that, I thought more of them were gonna grab walkers and use their blood to put the fire out. But that didn't happen.
No, she pumped the stomach like a fire like an aquarium.
I mean, I suppose she could have just gutted it right up the center and pushed it on the fire.
Sploosh.
We're so gross.
You could listen. Eddie would be so proud. Like I've come light years in terms of being desensitized to this. Like many years ago, would have been like, now I'm like, yeah, it's throat and like it just
saying it like what I had for breakfast. Yeah, she just grabbed him and slit his throat.
But you know what? I take issue with that because I'm like critiquing this. But that was the thing. Like they focused in on that, and I was like, are they focusing on this for a reason? Like, is it that this is not a walker and this was a person? Like, you know what I mean? Because I was like, why are we focusing? And she even kind of stared at the walker a little bit afterwards. Like she kind of like paused. So I was like, was this a person then? I
just had an amazing thought. Mm-hmm. What if it's foreshadowing to how she kills Alpha?
That's highly possible, especially because we saw Alpha basically decapitate that one chick, like that crossed her. So could be foreshadowing.
And Eddie says you're a wimp when it comes to blood. but I think he is proud of you. He forgot to say that.
No, I admit that. Like I've always like, yeah, I am not the best. I'm okay on this show. I'm fine, but I feel like I've still come a long way. I think I stand by that.
I watch movies and I'm like, not enough blood.
But meanwhile, like, it's like you get a cut, you go to the dentist, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, I watch Saw and think it's weak. No, I'm kidding. I love the Saw movies.
It's so funny because it's like I really do feel like I've come light years because when we got married, we went on our honeymoon to Vegas because it was like we could afford it, we could swing it. We were like, fine, we'll go to Vegas for like the weekend or whatever. And we went to like this haunted house, and literally this thing had me crying.
Oh no!
And now it's crazy because if I think back then to now, I'm like, that was like nothing in comparison to the kind of like shit I watch on a weekly basis now.
You're like, what was my problem back then?
Yeah. Like so bizarre. But yeah,
this was kind of an all around sad episode for Ezekiel. Did you hear what he said to Jerry? The fire was the beginning of the end for the kingdom.
Yeah,
when he's like half dead, like trying to put the fire out, and oh my gosh! Just every time I saw Ezekiel, my heart broke more.
I'm more and more like, you know what? Let the man have some happiness with Michonne, even if it's temporary, because like the poor guy is like he wears his heart on his sleeve, you know. I do want to say something. Another point about Ezekiel that he mentioned. When they were talking, what was it they were talking? Oh, birds. When they were on the dock.
Oh, yeah.
Shit and stuff. And I said, what was it that he was talking about when he was a zookeeper? Because obviously we knew Ezekiel, like, that was like, you know, he did like, you know, stage, amateur theater, whatever. But like his profession before the apocalypse was a zookeeper. And that's how he had,
Shiva.
Yeah. But he was saying that like he never had a problems with tigers and lions or whatever, but birds was a different story. And I 100% agree with it. Yes.
So does my wife.
So does my husband.
Well, listen, for real. He mentioned ostriches, and I went to Australia many, many years ago, and I was like chased around by an ostrich at like this sort of like little animal preserve thing. Those things are scary. They're like as high as you are. They're as tall, and they've got crazy eyes. So when he was talking about that, I was like 100%. Yeah. I
get it. Birds don't have facial expression. Like with like cats, dogs, lions, tigers. Yeah. I mean, there's at least like a snarl or a growl or their ears go back or there's a warning. They give you signs. Birds are just like, fuck you.
There's a reason why
my grandma had
birds, not like not the tigers, not whatever. So.
It makes sense to me. My grandma had an African gray for years, and this thing hated telephones. Anytime she would answer the telephone, the thing would fly across the room and attack the phone. And because it was right next to her face, he'd sometimes get her. Yeah, but he hated the telephone.
It was a volatile environment.
Birds are crazy.
Yeah. No. That's when he said that, I was like, I hear you. I agree. But yeah, I felt bad for Ezekiel. I was like, but it's good that Jerry's still there. He was like, kind of like trying to buck him up. Like, it's okay. It's all right. But
I love that he still calls him boss.
I know. Like he's like,
he still gives him that. He still gives him that authority, though.
Yeah. He still gives him respect.
Yes. That's what it is. It is respect.
It is respect. And he does deserve that. So it was sweet. But like, that ends though. I was just like, man, I was like, it's on. I was like, it's on like Donkey Kong. It's going to be these two chicks at the end.
Absolutely. I wasn't even sure if it was really happening. Like Daryl walked away.
Right?
Yeah. And Carol kind of hung out for a minute and then she's staring. And when they show the wide view, you can't really see anything. And then it zooms in and you see her. And I'm like, is she really there? Is she really there? Or is Carol just imagining this?
Because it was almost kind of like a dream sequence in a way. Like when she kind of walked out, there was something so like dreamy about it, like the way it happens. And then they kind of like lock eyes and stuff. But I was like, I'm going to go with that this is happening. And it's going to be these two chicks at the end. And like, it's going to be It's going to be that, and Carol's going to be the one to take her out. It's not going to be the way it works in the comic. It's going to be Carol that's going to be the one. It
has to be Carol. It has to be Carol. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. As soon as Alpha looked up at Carol and they locked eyes, I'm like, okay, all right, nope, she's there. It's really happening. Yeah. Alpha almost kind of came out of the woods and like, I don't know. She almost reminded me of like an animal, like how she was just
hibernating.
Like feeling the sun on her face and like doing a little stretch thing. And then all of a sudden is like, get out of my yard, you know?
Basically.
Yeah.
It's so nuts though, because it's like, basically it's like, from like Carol's standpoint, obviously she's like, you know, you murdered like my son. And from this chick's standpoint, it's like, you kidnapped my daughter, you know, like it's nuts, you know, but that's,
I mean, it kind of goes back to Aaron's question too. Are we the good guys?
That was an interesting question that he had posed, because I feel like we've always, this has been like a running question in this show. Like, I mean, but before any of this, like, I mean, this question came up at the voice of God knows this. I brought up repeatedly about all the shit that went down at the satellite station.
Oh, yeah.
Way back when. I'm like, okay, Rick, we kind of crossed the line. And everybody gave Rick the look like, you're kind of crossing the line here by, you know, murdering people in their sleep.
Right. Yeah. That was probably the worst move we've made. I mean, I'd like to sit here and be like, well, you know, we've never killed anyone maliciously or, you know, oh, wait. Shit. But we haven't. Oh, yeah, we did that too.
And everybody kind of looked at Rick like,
Yeah. I mean, at the time, we thought that were the only saviors. We did think we were eliminating the only threat.
Because we took Gregory's word.
Yeah, that was the mistake. Yeah. Listening to Gregory is always a mistake.
Listening to Gregory is not, But I mean, it was interesting that Aaron kind of threw that out there, you know, sort of like, you know what that scene reminded me of when Aaron and Michonne were on that bridge. It kind of also I mean, I know that she brought up like, oh, I lost Rick on the bridge. Like she kind of stopped herself and mentioned that or whatever. But it also, like the way the cars were and everything, it kind of reminded me of when Tara and Heath were on that bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And they came across like those walkers and they got separated. And I'm still waiting for Heath.
Oh, absolutely. I am too.
Like, I bring up Heath relentlessly. Anytime that they're like, well, who was in that car? I'm like, it's Heath. Who's in that?
Who's behind that mask? It's Heath.
It's Heath. And one day it's going to be him and I'm going to be like, bam.
Mic drop. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a rule, right? If we don't see them die, they're not dead.
They're not there. Yep. And I feel like at the time, like Kirkman had said, it's like, no, you know, we have a bigger story involved because there was like a card that was left or whatever.
Yeah.
That they never like described what it meant and stuff. So I'm like, I'm still waiting.
We still might see something on that. It looked like what, 3 P's or 3 6s or D's, depending on which way you were holding the card.
True.
Everybody said Heath will be in the movies, by the way.
I could see it. Yeah.
I could see that.
Absolutely.
He's a big character in the comic.
They're yelling at me.
Really important character. Just saying.
Yeah. So Lauren Cohen's confirmed for season 11 or 10? 10. Okay, that's what I thought. I heard that. But then everybody was like, no, 11.
Should I race through all the nuggets that we got? Because I did post them, but yeah, the Lauren Cohan season 10.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that, especially now that we've seen Tante.
I'm saying it's all coming together.
And Princess.
Yes!
That is going to be fun.
Now to recap a little bit, we had said that we had thought that it would be better if she came on to Fear because she's kind of off the page, you know, and it's kind of, you know, like the kind of the suspension of disbelief that's required to believe a character like that.
Yeah.
But now that she's coming to The Walking Dead, I think it might actually I think that might actually be kind of good depending on your outlook, because The Walking Dead did have humorous moments and stuff like that. So
no, and she's very comic booky.
yeah,
she's such a comic book character.
but
it
the
just
way
works.
the show is going, I mean, The Walking Dead has gotten progressively more serious as time goes on. But like, you know, having these little comic relief moments with, you know, 3 men and
Luke
a baby.
and Eugene.
Well, 3 men and a baby.
That too, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, and obviously Juan Javier, Dante, you know, that's a little bit of comic relief, albeit creepy.
Yeah.
But
still funny though.
which I like. I love that it's so creepy. Like, I saw an artist actually draw a panel of Aaron getting very awkward with Dante behind him, kind of giving him the side, like the twinkle eyes and stuff.
He's not creepy. He's a sketchy creeper.
He's definitely not 2019 material.
So I really
This was drawn like 9 years ago.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
8 years ago. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
by the
really
way,
don't want.
Sorry,
don't wanna
Thomas saying Lauren Cohan is coming in season 11, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there too.
I really don't. I don't want to slaughter her name. Can someone pronounce the
Paola.
actress? Paola.
Is that her name?
Paola. I see the
Lazaro?
accent. Yeah,
Lazaro.
I think it's Lazaro.
Paola?
But like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know what the accent.
I know. I
does
feel bad not
in
being able
Portuguese.
to say. Anyway, I've only ever seen her in Lethal Weapon. Have either of you seen her
Which
in
one?
anything else?
The last one, was it?
Well, the TV, the last season of the TV show,
no,
Lethal
I
Weapon.
haven't.
She wasn't on the movies.
She's gorgeous.
She really is, and I really like her as an actress. But I haven't.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering if you had seen her in anything else, because the character she plays on Lethal Weapon, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, so you're saying it doesn't fit Princess, or does it?
It doesn't. But that's just a character thing. You know what I mean? I said, I've never seen her in anything else, so I've only seen her as this character. So that's how I'm picturing her, which could be totally wrong. That's why I wanted to know if you had seen her in anything else that I could like see like a quirkier side to her acting.
Well, yeah, like you said, she was in Lethal Weapon, but she was also in Smilf.
Smilf?
It's a TV series that's on, I think it's Showtime, I want to say.
Okay.
I will confirm.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I would just like to see, like, because Princess's character is very quirky.
Yes.
She's very quirky, maybe even a little on the line of obnoxious sometimes, but just kind of very in your face and loud. And this is who I am, and you're going to love me no matter what.
Yeah.
And I love that character, and it's definitely nothing we've seen from anybody else so far.
No. They're not going to know what to do with her when they come across her.
Oh no. Have you seen these pictures floating around of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Mercer?
Oh my God.
Dude, I've spoken to like my husband repeatedly about this. I'm like, that I would lose my mind. I would my mind would like be blown, because he would look perfect.
He would be a great Mercer.
He really would.
I've already read the articles that say they would never do it, because
I think he's too big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's nice to get like, okay, like recognizable stars that you're like, oh wow, yeah, I know them from here. I've seen them here. Mm-hmm. But he's such like a mega celebrity that it can potentially overshadow everything, because you're just sort of like, oh my God, it's The Rock.
Right. And that's who you're going to see every time you see the character. You know who else I thought would be good? And this is, I don't know.
Oh, before
probably
you
drawing
say it,
similarities from the comic.
The art that you saw, by the way, that was made by Boss Logic, if you want to follow him. He does all different kinds of fandoms, but that edit of The Rock, that's
okay.
That was Boss Logic, yeah.
Awesome.
Who was at New York Comic Con too, by the way.
Very cool.
Oh.
Yeah, it's cool.
Did you guys watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes, I did.
All right. I also think the actor who plays Mac would make a good Mercer. Wow. And he's not as well known. Like, I don't even know his real name. Oh. So he's not quite as recognizable. but he's got that like that soldier stature that Mercer has.
Henry Simmons is his name.
Thank you. Yes, I knew as soon as I heard it, I would remember.
I should say something else though. Paola Lazaro in English is like it's like Paula Lazarus. I thought that was a kind of a little cool factoid.
Oh, that's cool.
But let me also pronounce her name. I have it on Google Translate.
Is Google gonna say it for us?
Yeah, hold on a second here.
Oh, this is gonna be so bad.
So Paola Lazaro.
Okay.
Lazaro. Yeah. Paola Lazaro. Yeah, that's what the A
is. She
does.
Brazilian?
Yeah, she's Brazilian. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, let me do it. Let me do it again, just for posterity.
I don't know why I'm holding my ear closer to the microphone. That's not gonna help.
Okay. Anyway, Lazaro.
Lazaro.
Yeah, I don't think it's Lazaro. It's like Lazaro.
All right.
Lazaro.
Okay.
Gotta get the.
It's funny. I try getting my kids to do that, and like they struggle a little bit.
Rolling their R's.
They'll
get it.
They'll
Okay,
get it.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, Rach. I must have. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I finished. I recommended Mac for Mercer.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be actors that like are kind of known enough that you could be like, oh yeah, I've seen them around, but not like so huge.
Right. Henry Simmons would be perfect for that.
Okay. Yeah, those would
I
be.
don't know. I mean, I could definitely see some other people in that position, but we're casting a character that's not even on the show yet.
Yeah, we're already like there.
And may never be.
Right? Yeah. Well, we did the same thing with Princess for a while there, though.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. Yeah, we
And
really
here
did not
she
think that would
is.
happen. Yeah.
And here she
Yeah.
is.
Dante, the same thing. It's like there he is.
Yeah, I really had no ideas for Dante.
No,
No.
I didn't think about it at all. So that's why it was such like a pleasant surprise, because I really hadn't it wasn't at the forefront of my mind at all. And it's kind of cool, like when you have these like characters that you like know and like the stories, and all of a sudden you see them and they're like good representations, and you're like, oh,
It's definitely extra exciting.
Yeah, I remember being like, how did you feel when you heard that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was cast as Negan?
To be honest, I didn't know who he was before he was cast as Negan.
Yeah,
So I didn't really have an opinion.
And then I looked him up and I was like, oh, really? Like, I don't know. Because it's like, obviously, like I'd read the comic, so I knew Negan from the comic of like this certain kind of like persona. And like, you know what the, like one of the inspirations was when he like created Negan, right?
No.
Like Kirkman. You remember like the guy, Henry Rollins, like the metal guy?
Yeah.
That was like partial inspiration for Negan. And
I
it was
had
so-
no idea.
Yeah.
Are you listening to this?
And I remember Henry Rollins from like back in the day in the 90s, like, you know, so I was like, oh yeah, like I could totally see that. But then it was funny because, you know, obviously like he got into like, you know, more like acting and television stuff after kind of getting out of like the music scene or whatever. And like Henry Rollins tried for the part of Negan, and then he didn't end up getting it. And he was like, how the fuck did I not get the role that I like inspired?
Right? This is me. How are you telling me that I can't play me?
Wrote this role based on me.
That's hilarious. Yeah. When I found out about JDM and I looked him up, I thought, oh yeah, he looks the part. Yeah. But I hadn't watched Supernatural at that point. I have now, but yeah, at that point he was just Negan to me.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't know him from like anything else.
Nope, me
because I hadn't seen Watchmen either. Because then everybody was like, because I knew people were like, oh yeah, he was the comedian in Watchmen, and I was like, oh,
I've never seen that movie either.
No. But yeah,
nope.
I did. Wait, hold on.
Did ya?
Hold on a second. God has to interrupt for a minute. If you haven't seen The Watchmen,
I haven't seen them.
You will understand because he plays a character called the Comedian, and you will understand why he ultimately took on the part of Negan based on that role.
Is this like Negan before Negan?
Negan before Negan, not as filthy. Well, actually, I don't know. Well, because I read both. I managed to read the graphic novel right before I watched the movie, so definitely you have to see that movie. You definitely do.
Yeah. I feel like Watchmen definitely has like a big cult following because there's like a lot of people who like love Watchmen.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to watch the series too.
Well, I will have to just
I've been
give it a
holding off.
watch.
The series, by the way, is a post movie series. You know what happens now, and
that's cool.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So I wanted to give extra props to the effects team this week as well. That the walkers that were coming out of that ship.
I was gonna say
freaking awesome.
They were amazing. They were amazing. Grotesque.
Yes.
Like the waterlogged. When they do those kind of waterlogged walkers, it's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, that
perspective.
That first one that's coming out, he has like a liquid sack on his arm, and every step he takes, you see this thing jiggling, and it's just so gross. And then the one after him doesn't even have any legs. It's just his bones. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
They do a fantastic job with that. Like Greg Nicotero, like always outdoes himself with that stuff because it was
my gosh.
I noticed that too. I was like, oh, these like water walkers. So we had water walkers. In my mind, potentially spacewalkers.
Spacewalkers, and those they gotta smell so bad.
I know, it was probably disgusting.
Right? Yeah. Oh God, I want to get my hands on it so bad. I do.
But yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I know, I'm going through my notes, see if we forgot anything, but we pretty much hit it all.
Yeah, I think so too.
Your husband Carol says, "What do y'all think of Negan picking tomatoes? He looked really, really awkward."
I think that I don't know. I don't think that he looked awkward. He's tending to the crops. He's doing his time. Damn it. he's reformed partially.
I think he's just happy to be out of the cell.
Yes, he's like happy just to get some air.
Yep. Yeah. I love the line though. Are you afraid I'm going to brain somebody with a tomato?
And he's
so Negan.
And he had said, like, look, I'm content with like being able to like work the grounds and have some, be able to like help out. He said, for now. To make sure to say for now.
For now.
Right now, sure. Until a better opportunity presents itself.
I do want to bring up one more thing though. And that's remember what we were saying during the breaks, or kind of the breaks leading up to Fear the Walking Dead and in the mid-season break, I think, is that we said that, or I said at least, that Negan, it's hard to imagine Negan reverting back to that his old ways kind of thing, him holding Lucille again. And I mean, based on what we see now, I guess we could probably see that happening, but like there's just something so interesting about the idea of him going back based on the fact that he made his promise to Judith. Like, what changes that, right?
I think that relationship with Judith is a big change because that relationship with Judith is a sincere one,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In reality, like, there's a history there. Like, I mean, remember when he like strolled into Alexandria and like he was with Carl and he went into the room and was like, oh, like, what are you hiding in here? And it's like, oh, look at this little angel. And he was smitten with Judith, like as a baby. Like, so he's like essentially been in her life since she was a baby, Yep. So he does have a very soft spot for her, and I think that he stands by his word of what he tells her. So I think that it matters to him that he stands by whatever he tells her. Yeah. Other people, like, maybe not, but like in terms of any promises he makes to her, he wants to honor those. So I think that that's the change. He has somebody that he's answering to in a sense.
Yeah. It's giving him accountability for his actions too. I totally agree. I also think that with everything that's going to be coming up, I think Judith might even maybe reach out and say, can you help us, or we need you, or she'll somehow give him permission to release the Negan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that might be the only way that he, can do it without breaking his promise to her is if she gives him permission.
The only way I could see that happening is if he pulls kind of like a Eugene, and that would be kind of poetic. Like, not obviously the same way. There's no guns with the Whisperers, but... Or actually, I think we saw that the Whisperers had guns in the teaser for The Walking Dead Season 10.
Yes.
Alpha at least has one.
There were a bunch with AKs, or, well, you know.
How are they still having weapons?
We see, the thing is, when we saw the trailers, we noticed that both Logan's people and the Whisperers happened to have heavy artillery.
Huh. Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, it would be poetic for him to pull like a Eugene in a way, kind of like, you know, doing what Eugene did
to the Whisperers, though.
You know, gaining their trust and favor in the same way that Eugene was trusted by Negan, gave him purpose and stuff like that. And maybe even in the same way, he feels purpose. I don't know.
Well, we see that in the comics. That's exactly what happens in the comics.
That is exactly what happens. He basically infiltrates, essentially.
Yep. Starts hitting on Alpha.
Yeah, Gimple pulling the long block in Tetris right there, because, you know, if they're setting up Eugene to do that, and then they... all for Negan's same kind of trickery in the end, it's kind of interesting to see that come about.
I don't think that I think they're going to deviate in that area, because I don't think that Negan's going to be the one that's going to play the pivotal role in Alpha's demise. I think that's definitely going to be more Carol, but I could see Negan playing a pivotal role in the demise of maybe Beta eventually, like once we're like there, just because Beta's death in the comic just feels sort of like random,
right? Downplayed.
Yes. Like I felt like when we got there, it was very downplayed and it was very flat and it just was anticlimactic. Like for such like a big hulking character and formidable character, it was sort of like, yeah, really? I mean, and I know like they've tried to address this like on the show, like when they've had characters in the comic die in ways that was just not I don't know, not respective of like the
material,
the level of like of what the character like gave to the show. Like Abraham's death was so like quick and random in the comics, you know, like because he basically got Denise's death, where it was sort of like all of a sudden Abraham's gone, you know, and he didn't get that kind of hero's chance to kind of like, you know, go down with a fight essentially, or with a dignity. It was just sort of like random and with no sense whatsoever. So they kind of changed that around on the show to give him that kind of hero's opportunity. I could see them kind of doing the same thing to give like Beta have more of like a send off when that does happen, you know, like I could see that.
On that note, I was thinking, if you wanted to actually give, what are your thoughts about giving Negan Father Gabriel's death?
No way. Sorry.
Okay. I just want to throw it out there. Like they could like pulling a switcheroo or something like that.
No, Negan's not going anywhere.
And last question, do you think that he's going to get Lucille?
He's getting Lucille. Yep. He's getting Lucille. I firmly believe that Michonne has Lucille. In my opinion.
You're thinking something, Rachel.
I think Michonne does have Lucille.
Okay.
I think that Negan will see Lucille. I don't know if we'll see her back in his hands, though.
Oh, really? Oh, so no, that was my question. Do you think he gets Lucille?
No.
And Carol, you disagree?
I think that they'll be reunited, but I definitely...
Reunited and it feels so good.
Nice.
I could see him singing that when he gets it too.
Oh yes, yes.
It would be in character. It would be on brand.
I could see Michonne dangling it in front of him.
Yeah, I think that she for sure has it. Definitely, I think she has it.
A lot of answers, by the way, from the chat.
Well, and Lucille represents a lot more than just Negan's past, or specifically what he did, with Lucille. I mean, he holds on to this bat like it's still his wife. I mean, he talks to the thing like it's his wife. I mean, if he did get Lucille back, I would hope that it would be more of a symbolic thing rather than a weapon for him.
Yeah.
Oh. We lost the ladies. What happened? Huh. Well, I guess it's just me, guys. That was weird.
What just happened?
I don't know.
That was so weird.
I was like, all of a sudden, I was like, you were gone.
I think the actual program crashed. I mean, we'll do a little editing, but later on in post. But that was weird. But yeah, anyway, was anybody in the middle of saying something?
We were just saying that Lucille kind of like is more, I think, more of like a representative of him, a representation for Negan of being back in his element or his strength, or but not so much, not necessarily like a weapon, even though obviously it is a weapon, but it's sort of like it's almost like a superhero who gets his, I don't know, his special whatever back, and now it's like his power is like fully back to 100%,
Okay. So should we end it here?
I'm looking through my notes. I think we pretty much hit it all.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. A lot of people saying, by the way, that actually Willani and Nisa are like saying, arguing whether Lucille's going to be used to put down Beta, and
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say about Beta's demise. Well, first of all, I don't even want to see Beta killed.
I was gonna say,
me too.
we all know. I want Beta to turn our way and join our group and be a good guy and take off his mask so we can see all that beautiful hair. You don't want to see him take his mask off?
I kind of want to see. Well, there's a little bit of that going on, but because we know what he looks like. But I do want to.
Yeah, that's why I want him to take the
mask off. But I do think that it would be more fitting for Beta to go, ride off into the sunset rather than Negan, right? If you think about how that happens or how that goes down, I almost want Beta to kill Alpha in a weird way, but. In order to do that, the only way I could see him doing that is if he absconds with his religion, which he seems more adamant about than Alpha at most times. The religion of the Whisperers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's more of a believer in the philosophy, and Alpha is just evil, basically.
Yeah.
But we saw it even with the Whisperer last season, who was hurt and was going to die. He kind of was like, no, you're always going to be one of us because you're going to walk with us or whatever. It's this whole sort of philosophy and mindset and approach to this new way of living. So I think he really kind of believes in it and buys into it. And I think Alpha's just,
crazy
leader.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She wears white on Labor Day.
Yeah, she does.
She's kind of sneaky.
I've definitely the theory of Alpha killing Beta has definitely entered my head more than a few times, especially just that one scene where Alpha's telling everybody that Lydia's gone, and that's all she says, and he has that reaction to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I pointed that out too when we were covering it too.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, you didn't see that look? Yeah, there was a look.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
watch
there
that
was
again.
a look. Even under the mask, you could see the look.
You saw the eyes look down at Alpha at the moment. It was like, okay.
Yep. What does gone?
This.
Yeah, what does gone mean?
Right, exactly.
What does God mean? Anyway, all right. So I'll let you guys do the sign off.
Gosh, well. I'm really excited for the start of season 10. I mean, if this is first episode, we're basically hitting almost all the highlights from the trailer, then that's a pretty convincing and solid sign for what's to come, So I think it started off strong. So I'm excited to see what's coming.
It's only going to get better
Absolutely.
from here. I've been hearing from everybody that 2 and 3 are going to be pretty cool between getting like a origin story flashback again to Alpha's rise. You know?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I like that.
And the still shots, by the way, and shout out to the Dead Connection, by the way, who I can't say more than that, but who posted some really, really cool stills from behind the scenes that nobody else has. So I think if you go to the deadconnection.com or deadconnection.com, you'll see that in the latest post. It's really great. I'll even link to it in the description once I do the blog posts. Incredible.
Awesome.
Stuff.
Cool.
Thanks for being here. I hope I see everybody in Atlanta and Camp Merrimack.
And the voice of God says, have a good evening, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Nisa. Thanks, Willani.
Do it, God.
And sorry, was it Miss Mazel? She just signed on, but
Oh,
she says we'll watch. She says she'll watch it from the beginning. So,
oh, good.
Okay. Good night, y'all, and to all those celebrating. Only one person I know. Have a very reflective Yom Kippur.
Okay, it's not happy Yom Kippur.
Yeah, it's not it's
Not
well,
happy
it's in a
or
way. I'll explain this.
merry?
And I'll probably cut this off, but it's more of like a reflective holiday. You're really like it's like the Jews' second chance at atonement. So your second chance was before Rosh Hashanah to kind of close out the year, and it's to like in case the judgments have been upon you, already been upon you and casted on Rosh Hashanah.
Oh man.
You get kind of like a second chance to erase all your sins. You know, basically, it's like, okay, well, I know the judgment's been cast, the die's been cast, but please, God, I promise I'll do better. And so that's so you can say that, like you can say that right after Yom Kippur. It's like, oh, Gemar Chatima Tova, which means we finished the erasing of our sins. So the month leading up to Rosh Hashanah, a lot of more religious Jews, Orthodox Jews, and even conservative Jews, they do a thing called selichot, which is like you basically it's like right before the morning prayers. They do a little extra to kind of for forgiveness. Selichot literally means the act of forgiveness. And then and if God still has like a little judgment on you after Rosh Hashanah, you can do like a little second chance, like 26-hour fast and praying.
Whoa!
You know, no water, no food. Yeah. And,
what? No water?
No water, no food.
Does coffee count?
Nope.
Oof.
Yep.
Coffee doesn't count?
There's some, you can do some things if you have a medical reason, like, and even that's a stretch. But anyway.
Oh my gosh.
We'll learn all about that.
I can't even go 4 hours without eating.
Well, with that, everybody, thank you for joining us on a special, lovely, intelligent, beautiful, really cool insights episode of Squawking Dead from OG Squawking D, Carol G, and Cosmo Mom 09. And with that, we'll see you in, we'll have another episode, but we'll see you in Atlanta.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Rachel, take us out with a special.
Okay, bye.
There you go. Bye. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, and